literally about 10 seconds.
It's first thing in the morning, and I'm in the back of a 4x4 crossing the moorland, very much off-road. I've been invited to visit an archaeological site which is being dug as part of a community project. And at this point I have no idea just how exciting this particular site will be. This morning I have travelled from Archaeosoup Towers to a site just outside Middlesbrough called Eston Hills. As we arrive on site, I'm grateful not to have bashed my head too hard, but also I'm excited to see what's here. If it hadn't already, it soon dawns on me that we are parked in potentially a very special place.
My name's Adam Mead. I'm the Archaeological Director for the Ice and Fire project on the Eston Hills. It's a 2-week excavation of potential flint scatter sites that have been identified by myself over numerous years.
It is crucial to understand the landscape context of this site and what lies on the horizon.
That's a monument to a Napoleonic watch beacon that was there. Okay, that is slap bang centre in the middle of a late Bronze Age, early Iron Age hill fort. So in the late Bronze Age it was a single valley D-shaped hill fort. We think it's been heavily quarried at the back, so we do think it was a hell of a lot bigger than it is now. But in the early Iron Age it was made in a univalate hill fort. There has been a couple of excavations up there by people like Blaise Viner that have uncovered like a Bronze Age urn, and that's why it's been classed as that date. The significance of that hill fort is dramatic. Looking to the right from the hill fort, or facing towards ourselves, you have a commanding view of the ridgeways of the North York Moors, going right the way over to Sutton Bank and the Vale of York. From the hill fort itself, you can actually see right up to Sunderland along the coast and right over to the Cheviots, and it commands the whole Tees Valley area. It's the only hill fort that's been found in Teesside. That as a hill fort itself, we are sure that there is going to be settlement in where the far tree line is, on the flatter promontory up there. I'm having a meeting with the landowner this evening to see if I can actually get his permission to do some archaeological survey work, and hopefully further on the project do some excavation work up there just to get this clear.
To the north and east, the moorland rapidly descends towards Middlesbrough and the North Sea beyond, though it is worthwhile remembering, around 10,000 years ago, not only would the horizon have looked different because of a lack of industry, but also the North Sea wasn't there. During the Ice Age, water was locked up in glaciers, and out into the North Sea, land extended. This landmass, connecting with what is now Denmark and Europe beyond, is called Doggerland. Eventually this area was flooded as the glaciers retreated and the waters rose.
The project started on the 20th and we have approximately 25 volunteers per day, digging a series of test pits and digging exploratory trenches over features that were picked up by geophysics surveys which were done earlier on in the year. One of these such features is the hearth. This was excavated and was lined by sandstone. From this hearth area we've had some really nice bits of worked flint, which has been dated to the early Bronze Age, late Neolithic and early Bronze Age, and we have a clear indication of a flute coming here, which would have controlled the fire's temperature. So it could be possibly related to metalworking, etc., etc. In the trench directly behind you, which got opened yesterday, we had some really nice datable worked flint as well. The yellow that you can see coming through is a natural glacial clay, and this is what we're working down to out of this area. How many have we had, Mike? Bits of flint?
6, 2 big bits and the rest sort of
quite fragmentary. Yeah, bits of flint. This is one of our local volunteers, Richard, who's, don't mind me saying, Richard is visually impaired, he's blind, but he does everything by touch and feel, and fantastic. And that's Roz, just to say hi. That's working really well. If we look to my right, this is Clive. He is our famous drone pilot who is producing all the drone footage and video diary for the project over its duration. If we head over to the other areas, what we're doing is we're putting a series of test pits, 1 metre by 1 metre square, 7 in a row, going back 2.5 metre gap over a 15 metre area. This area here is where a lot of the surface lithics have been found by myself, and once again were found in the 1980s after a huge peat fire. You can see the remains of some test pits that have already been opened and closed down and fully recorded, and you can see the local volunteers just doing the recording processes of these test pits now. All the volunteers are trained in how to record, how to do survey work, what features to look for, and we'll teach them as much as we possibly can about archaeological practices. Danny here is going into archaeology in September at Newcastle, so he'll be getting taught more survey work with me today, which is great. You know, it's just giving him a full insight on what to expect for the future. As you can see, once again, this yellow layer of clay sand, this is our natural up here. This is the glacial clay from approximately 11,500 BC. Anything on top of that, you know, which we have got deposits of flint on top of this, so you're talking predominantly Mesolithic, which is fantastic. This whole area, if you can see from the camera view, we're on quite a big promontory. And going down towards the tree level there goes into a wetland area, which could be quite significant. Now, if we have signs of habitation and settlement, okay, next to a wetland area that would have been used for natural resources, it's very significant, especially for the northeast. They are quite rare. Okay, the only other one of significant importance within the area as such, and which has been well dug, was Starcar. Professor Peter Rowley Conway has been up here, who is on our advisory panel and is getting quite excited about the possibility of the significance of such a site on Eston Hills. We have done paleoenvironmental samples. Unfortunately, we can't get the correct coring from the middle of the wetland area because we don't have a boat at this present moment in time, but we are working on that at the moment, and hopefully by the beginning of winter we'll have some coring done for that. To our left, this is Dr. David Erickson, who's a forensic anthropologist and archaeologist from Teesside University and the deputy director of the Eston Hills project, and a good friend. He's also the chair of the Tees Archaeological Society, and without him I'd be lost, in fairness. But Dave's chasing a feature that the Unity picked up yesterday whilst working in the trench. You can see the discoloration of the soil coming down from the natural glacial clay into the brown. We're not sure if it's old tree rootings or anything like that, but whatever it is, it's very, very old. So we're just trying to understand what we have actually going on at this present moment in time. Do you want to say anything, Dave?
No, just that you can see that we're down to the natural around this kind of burning, a lot of charcoal kind of coming up from it, some sandstone flecks which you would expect from an archaeological layer, but we're trying to distinguish whether it's in a tree that's been burned because of the heather fires and the roots have just kind of stained the soil, or whether we're in something like we were over on the other side of the site where we had a hearth area burning.
Cool, brilliant. If we go over a bit further along, this is Paul. He's been on a 3-week excavation doing Anglo-Saxon further south, and he's volunteered to come up here and give us a hand. And Paul's also going to be trained in using the total station for survey work as well today with myself and Danny, so we'll get him involved in that. And Paul's just coming down now onto the natural layer once again. Once this has been cleaned, natural layer recorded, the section will be drawn, fully recorded on the information sheet, then backfilled. Then we'll move on to the next square, next set, going further up, and so on and so forth until we hit the level that we want to be. This is Emma and her son Chris. Emma's a PhD student at Durham University, and Chris is her son, helping out, taking charge of this test pit. I think is it B14? B14. B14. So.
She's the grown up.
So what we're trying to do is once again find any lithic scatters, etc., any features that we can possibly pick up, and that's the same across all the test pits that we're doing on the site. Over in the final test pit over here, this was opened up yesterday over a feature that was once again picked up by geophysics. We hope we find some archaeological anomalies. We already have flint out of it, bright white flint. It hasn't been burnt, and the white flint normally comes out of Yorkshire or Links, or that kind of area, not up here. So it may suggest once again further movement within the landscape, which wouldn't be totally unethical in fairness, looking at the location which you've seen, and the commanding views that this kind of site portrays. So we have a team in here. We have Dave, Dave's mum and Rob working on here, trying back a 5 metre by 1 metre test pit, and hopefully finding archaeological features that have been hidden for millennia. How's it going?
But David keeps poo-pooing them.
Do you?
Hi, David.
Oh, Dave.
David Erickson keeps poo.
Well, say no more.
So, after 5 days in a very exciting landscape, the team have uncovered strong initial evidence for a Neolithic and Bronze Age settlement, very close to a hilltop wetland, likely a prehistoric lake, tantalisingly similar to the Mesolithic type site Star Car. On the horizon, in almost every direction, are known prehistoric sites and monuments. And just a couple of days ago, some evidence of Mesolithic settlement was found on the hillside, looking down into the valley and towards Doggerland beyond. It's no exaggeration to say that this is probably one of the most exciting archaeological sites I have visited in person. However, this is a rescue archaeology project for a reason. Unfortunately, especially during the summer, vandals have a habit of setting fires on the hillside. The dry gorse burns all too readily, putting nature, archaeology, and even human lives at risk. Indeed, just metres from the hearth excavation, evidence of gorse fires was clear. Another source of fire are the many cars which are brought here and burned out. Having apparently bought these cars for a pittance at the scrap merchant, groups of people bring them up to the moor and proceed to ride around the landscape until they can ride no more. This activity is having a detrimental effect on the environment and the archaeology. Here at the edge of the wetland, the ground has been carved up, and elsewhere the effect is even more dramatic. Leading into the water, vehicles have exposed a tantalisingly crisp stratigraphy to be found below, ironically highlighting that which they are destroying. Adam and his team are attempting to highlight and combat the damage being done to this landscape, and the local MP has been excited by the archaeology and is passionate about combating the vandalism. It is hoped that with this support, this rescue archaeology project will highlight the need for and result in better protection for this landscape. I, for one, look forward to seeing how this project develops in the years to come. I was positively giddy with the possibilities on the day, so rest assured I'll be back. If you want to know more about the Ice and Fire Eston Hills Rescue Archaeology Project, check out the links available in the video description below.
It wasn't particularly wetland.
very much.
Alkaline down there.
Have a
In the drying box.
Trying to make it so it comes off at all.